Hi, the goal of this video is to show you how to set up a Excel report that's scalable across different output sources. So, for example, if you have a lot of data that you're analyzing, say for different countries, and all the output looks the same, perhaps you want a report, an Excel spreadsheet that produces different figures for each country. You don't want to have to do this every time for each instance. It'd be nice if you can do it once and then scale it up across different places. So that's what this video is about. So let's look at what I'm talking about. Okay. I have 4 different workforces that I'm looking at: dentists, dental hygienists, physicians, and physician's assistants. And basically what I'm doing here is I have a bunch of data that I want to compare, okay? And I want to look at rural versus urban differences. And we have data on gender, age. We want to look at the distribution of physicians and see if there's a rural-urban difference. Now, I have to do this 4 times for these 4 different workforces. Now, what I'd like to do is I have my output files in each one, and all the output files are, the raw output files are a little bit different. What I'd like to do is make a nice template using one workforce and then see if I can scale it up. So what I mean by template: one that makes the data look nice, one that produces maybe a few nice figures, things like that. But I want to do it once and then scale it up to the other workforces. So what do I have to do? Well, let's start off with my physicians. I have this template file that I just started. It's blank right here, but this is the general thing I'm going to look at. A lot of different variables, okay? I'm going to look at the mean and standard deviation, and eventually I'll make error bands, but I want this for rural and urban groups, okay? And I have raw data for that. Here I have 2 output files that I created with Stata, okay? Here's all the variables I'm looking at. I have some demographics, female, race, I have age, distributions, things like that. A whole bunch of data, okay? This file I called vals, okay? I created an XLS file called vals. It's a generic name. But this shows the urban values, okay? So basically 32% of urban physicians are female, 23% are rural, and there's a difference here, okay? So this is what this is showing. This is the values. I put the standard errors in a different file. Why did I do that? I don't know. I thought it was making things easier, but it may not have. But every calculation that was produced in Stata produced a value for female and the standard error that goes with it. I want all this data presentable, so I'm going to do this in my new file right here, and I'm going to use this general template file to read the data. So first I want to look at, I have these for codes. I have, what's the variable code. Let's look at female first, okay? So female, I'm using this, reading this from this worksheet, all right? Now, the easy way to do this is I want to be able to do this once and then scale for all my variables. So I take this $signs out. Why did I do this? Because now I can read down the rest of that file. Female, Hispanic, white. This is for the vals XLS sheet 1. Vals XLS, this is sheet 1 right here. And I started reading that, starting at female, reading down, okay? Now I want to get the means, okay? I can run across here, and I'm going to get the first mean value. But what did I actually read? Sheet 1, A4 of this val spreadsheet. B4, sorry. B4 is this number, 32. These match up. But what is this? This is the urban mean for it. So I want to copy this over here. I don't want that under rural. I want that under urban. If I copy it over one more, I get 23%. Well, that's the rural mean. I want to bring that over here and set that up under rural physicians. Okay? These two are in percentage terms. So what am I showing? Well, the raw data says 32% of urban physicians are female, 24% are rural. That's what I've done here, except I've made it look a little bit nicer, okay, with some modification. Now I need the standard errors, okay? Let's do the standard error for urban. Now, I don't use my vowels spreadsheet, I use my standard error spreadsheet. Okay, here's the urban standard error for female right here. That standard error is 0.003. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Again, I want to be able to get not only the urban but also the rural. So, and I want to get not only for female but all the way down. So I'm going to take out the dollar signs because that allows me to drag across later, as you'll see in a second. Okay, so 003 is the standard error for urban physicians. If I drag it right here, I get 0.006. That's the standard error for rural physicians. Okay, so I have basically the mean and standard error for rural, the mean and standard error for urban. Again, I want to make sure that I have the right code. So this is all row 4. Okay, for urban physicians, just to make sure I'm doing everything right, urban code is female right here. Okay, I have dollar signs, take those out. Now what have I done? I can take all this information and start dragging down. And let's just drag down a little bit. Okay, so I've taken this raw data file from here and I put it into one thing here. Now what am I looking at? I can give these a descriptive name: female, Hispanic, white, black, Asian, other races. And now I have one file that's going to put all this information together. Now, why am I doing this? Well, we want to think about scalability. We'll do other things with this file later, but if we save this, we have each of these linking to other Excel files. Now, again, we want to scale this to these other workforces. So for my physician's workforce, I'm using these 3 files, the SA, SE, and the vowels, and the template file. Let's see if I can copy this to the physician assistant's file. Okay, physician assistant has its different variables, different values and SEs that I also created in Stata. Let's open these up. Okay, so this is a different workforce, this is slightly different data, but it's all set up the same way. This is the values for urban, rural. These are the different variables. They're slightly different. They measure different things than the in the physicians. And here's the SEs. I take that same template file, I copy it to the same directory, and when I open it up, voila. Okay, rural. I'll have to change this up to physician assistants. In urban physician assistants. Okay, but what is this says 68 to 74% rural to urban female physicians. Well, what do my values say? 74 urban, 68 rural. Okay, so everything should be lining up. Let's do, look at other races, 22 to 25%. Other races, oops, sorry, other races. So this is measuring something a little bit differently. I think I didn't have enough to split up the races into so many subcategories. Instead, we just have white and other. So I'll have to go back here and clear this out, but this is white, this is other. 3 to 8% are other. This gives me 3% to 8%. So now I have a comparison, okay? The only thing I'll have to change is the descriptive name, but all the data should be in here, and I can continue to drag that all the way down to the bottom of this file. Okay, so this has allowed me to be scalable across different workforces. I can go on to scale this up to my other workforces as well. Okay, it's kind of a mess, but it makes your life a lot easier. So good luck.